In the heart of the bustling city of New York, Jason stood alone in the living room of his sleek Manhattan apartment, tension gripping his chest. The soft glow of the chandelier cast a harsh light, highlighting the distance between him and his reality. His hand nervously checked his watch for the 100th time. It was almost time. He had one chance to escape unnoticed. His phone buzzed. He grabbed it quickly and read the message from Lucy, his mistress. "You coming or not? You promised." A bead of sweat formed on Jason's forehead as he wiped it away. In the heart of New York, where everything was fast-paced and everyone was constantly moving, he had managed to keep his two worlds separate, until now. But tonight, the walls felt like they were closing in. Suddenly, the front door creaked open. His heart skipped a beat. Karen, his wife, was home earlier than expected. Jason stood frozen in place, unsure what to do. The tension was thick in the air. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Karen, dressed in her professional attire, casually walked into the room, holding her briefcase. She didn't seem to notice anything amiss, or so Jason hoped. Karen glanced at the clock, then looked at him, but said nothing. She continued to walk upstairs without a word. Jason stood still for a moment, staring at the door as if it could offer an escape. He quickly grabbed his keys, his pulse racing. He couldn't waste any more time. The neon lights of a small, upscale bar in the heart of Manhattan flickered as Jason walked through the door. His pulse quickened with each step. He had been here before, but tonight the familiar surroundings felt colder, less welcoming. Lucy sat at the booth, a glass of wine in hand, the red liquid swirling as she eyed him. Their connection was undeniable, the chemistry almost palpable. They exchanged a quick, heated kiss. A kiss that lasted just long enough to remind Jason that his life outside this affair was hanging by a thread. As they sat down, Lucy looked at him with a knowing smile, her voice a soft, dangerous whisper. Jason wasn't blind to the consequences of what he was doing, but in that moment, he pushed the guilt aside. The affair had become routine. It was easier to live in the lie than face the truth. He thought he could keep his marriage and affair separate, but as the night went on, the doubts started creeping in. Could he keep hiding this from Karen forever? Back at their high-rise apartment in Manhattan, Karen was deep in thought, reviewing case files on a complex investigation she was handling. But something felt off. She had been noticing Jason's strange behavior for weeks. Late nights, secretive phone calls, unexplained absences. Karen, a world-renowned detective, had dealt with betrayal before, but this time it felt personal. She trusted Jason, but that trust was starting to crack. She tried to push the thought out of her mind, but the feeling wouldn't go away. Something wasn't right. Her phone buzzed, and she opened a message from an unknown number. It only took a moment for her to recognize the sender. It was from Jason. The message read, "Meet me at the usual place. Same time, 10 p.m. Karen's heart sank. She had suspected it for weeks, but now she had proof. Karen wasn't the type to jump to conclusions. She had built her career on solving the toughest cases, and she knew how to handle this one. She wasn't about to let Jason's lies go unpunished. Karen's office in the heart of New York City was cluttered with files and photographs from various cases she had worked on. But tonight, the only case that mattered was Jason's. She sat down at her desk, sifting through the evidence she had been gathering for weeks. The photographs were damning. Jason and Lucy caught on camera outside bars, restaurants, and other locations in the city. Each photo, each text message, each phone record was a piece of the puzzle. It wasn't just about an affair anymore. This was about the lies, the betrayal of their marriage, and the secrets he had been keeping. Karen, ever the professional, knew that she couldn't confront him yet. She needed everything, every shred of evidence. She wasn't going to let him slip away without facing the full consequences of his actions. Jason returned home, his mind still reeling from his meeting with Lucy. He had been careful, or so he thought. But as he entered the apartment, something in the air felt different. The weight of the silence in the room pressed down on him. Karen was standing in front of him, calm and composed. The evidence was all laid out before him, photographs, phone records, and messages. Jason's heart sank as he realized there was no way to hide anymore. Karen had known for weeks. She had been one step ahead of him the entire time. She didn't raise her voice or accuse him. She didn't have to. Her silence spoke volumes. Jason knew everything was unraveling, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. Jason sat in his car, parked just outside the apartment building. The city of New York bustled around him, but in that moment, everything felt still. His mind raced. He couldn't believe it. How had Karen figured it out? How had she known? His phone buzzed again. It was a message from Lucy. "What's going on? I thought we were meeting." Jason looked at the screen, but didn't respond. He couldn't think straight. His life, his career, his marriage, all of it was crumbling in an instant. With a deep sigh, Jason threw his phone onto the passenger seat, the weight of his guilt and fear heavy on his chest. He had no idea how he had gotten here, but he knew one thing. There was no going back now. Karen wasn't done with Jason. As a top detective in New York City, she had access to everything. It wasn't just the affair she had uncovered. It was the deeper, more dangerous secrets that Jason had hidden. The financial records, bank transfers, offshore accounts, and hidden assets revealed a web of lies even more complicated than the affair. Jason hadn't just betrayed Karen. He had been embezzling funds from his company. Karen didn't show emotion. She had expected this. She had been preparing for this moment for months, and now the truth was out. Jason wasn't just facing the breakdown of his marriage. He was facing criminal charges. As Jason tried to process the depth of his betrayal, Karen hit him with a final blow. Not only had he been unfaithful, but he had also been stealing from his company for years. He had lied, cheated, and manipulated his way through every part of his life. But Karen had already gathered the proof to expose it all. Jason's entire career, everything he had worked for, was now at risk. His lies were no longer confined to their marriage. They had spilled over into every part of his life. And now, Karen was going to make sure he paid for every one of them. Jason's office became the setting for his downfall. Police arrived with the documents Karen had collected, evidence of the embezzlement, financial fraud, and all the hidden accounts Jason had thought no one would find. As the officers entered, Jason realized there was no way out. Karen had already planned for every step of his destruction. He couldn't run, couldn't hide. The truth had come out, and he was going to have to face the consequences, not just for his affair, but for everything he had stolen. The weight of Jason's actions hit him like a ton of bricks. The affair was just the beginning. The financial scandal was even worse. Everywhere he went, he was met with stares, whispers, and judgment. The life he had built, the career he had cultivated, had been destroyed in an instant. And it was all his fault. Jason was escorted to the police station in handcuffs, surrounded by detectives. Karen watched from the sidelines, calm and resolute. She had been right all along. This wasn't just about the affair. It was about Jason's entire life of lies. As Jason walked past her, he didn't say anything. There were no words left between them. His actions had already spoken louder than anything he could say now. The courtroom was packed. The affair, the embezzlement, everything was on display for everyone to see. Jason stood at the center of it all, facing the consequences of his choices. Karen sat in the back of the courtroom, her face stoic, watching it all unfold. This wasn't just a case to her. This was personal. But she was done. She had done what she needed to do. Now, Jason would have to live with the consequences of his betrayal. The story was everywhere. News outlets in New York and across the country were reporting on Jason's downfall. The affair, the financial crimes, the lies. His name was now synonymous with betrayal. As Jason walked through the streets, he couldn't escape the judgment. People whispered behind his back, pointed fingers, and stared with disdain. He had lost everything. Back at the apartment, Jason sat in silence, the weight of everything he had done pressing down on him. Karen stood across from him, her expression unreadable. She had given him every opportunity to make things right. And now, there was nothing left to say. Jason knew it was over. The damage was done. Standing outside the apartment building, Jason watched Karen walk away. The woman he had once loved was now leaving him behind. Their life together was gone. The marriage, the trust, everything had been shattered beyond repair. This was the end. There was no turning back now. If you found this story gripping and full of twists, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more jaw-dropping tales of betrayal, crime, and justice. And remember, if you've ever experienced a situation where trust was broken or you've witnessed the unexpected unfold, share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going. Stay tuned for more shocking stories you won't want to miss.